Close passage. So destroying art is less evil than destroying life, however authentic the inspiration in either case is. But Gujarat has now witnessed both, which is what destroying art as well as destroying life. Carried off with dash. While the riot cases flounder in a legal maze, Vishwa Hindu Parishad and Bajrang Dal activists in Surat have been at it again. Nothing they have done this time is new. Works of art have been dashed before in India and gallery owners threatened. The objections are also tediously familiar, which is what? Obscenity, hurting religious feelings, etc. What is new this time is the success with which vandals have managed to dash the owner of the gallery. Let's move forward. Mr. Praful Shah, who has made a written promise to the objectors that not only would the dash works be removed, but the local Hindu right will also be consulted before any future display of art to make sure nothing causes offence. Quite dash, the entire community of artists in Gujarat and in the rest of the country is outraged. This is a sad and shaming defeat for them and for those who value their freedom. When I read the passage, what do I know? I understand that, okay, this thing is about something to do with art. Of course, this is in Gujarat. We have two particular groups, that are causing this problem, and predominantly the passage is revolving around something negative, right? So I understand all that. Now let's look at blank by blank. Let's look at the first blank. So the first sentence is, remember our strategies, right? For closed passage, it's the same strategy as fill in the blanks. Destroying art is less evil than destroying life, however authentic the inspiration in either cases. But Gujarat has now witnessed both, carried off with dash. And then the next sentence says, while the riot cases flounder in a legal maze, Vishwa Hindu Parishad and Bajrang Dal activists in Surat have been at it again. So basically, from these two sentences, I get an understanding that whatever is happening in Gujarat, right, people are getting away with it. Right? Because it says the riot cases are floundering in a legal maze. You know what a maze is, right? Something confusing. If you saw the movie Inception, you know what a maze is. Very clearly they explain. Right? A maze is more like a puzzle. Right? You're just going in circles, not getting anywhere. You're not getting to a point or not getting to a result. Right? So the cases, basically, floundering means nothing has come out of it. Okay? Why? Because probably nobody is taking it seriously, or two, nobody is wanting to resolve it, right? Whatever the reasons are. And then we have two particular groups that are at it again, meaning whatever the first line is talking about, destroying art. Right? Now, if I look at my first option, first blank, my options are humility, snobbishness, piety, and impunity. Right? As soon as I read these words, maybe I'm familiar with all the three words except for D. You may not know the meaning of the word impunity. Right? So, humility, I know, something to do with being humble. Right? Is it the right word in this context? Not really, or not at all. Right? We're not talking about anywhere close to something being humble or anybody being humble. Snobbish. You heard people say, who's a snob? A snob is probably someone who thinks he's superior to everybody else, right? They regard everybody else as inferior because of either, social status or intellect, right? If they say snobs kind of can't put up with foolish people. If you do something foolish, they just don't have the patience to deal with you. That sort of people are called snobs. So, in this context, that's not what is required. Piety. What is that? Something to do with reverence. Right? When you say piety, you immediately refer it to religious devotion. Or some sort of reverence. Now, impunity. Now, this is probably the new word that you have no idea about. I don't know what this word impunity means. Right? So, for those of you who probably don't know what impunity is, right? It's basically, freedom or exemption. You don't get punished. Now, we know this is probably the closest fit in this context because we're talking about right places floundering in a legal maze, where I just said that, nothing is happening. The cases are there, but nobody is getting punished. Right? And because we see that the groups are still going ahead and continuing to destroy art. Right? So, which means, in the context, this is probably the most closest or right fit. How have we arrived at this? Because of the surrounding context which is telling us, while the right cases flounder in a legal maze, meaning there is no punishment. These people are not accused of anything wrong. They are getting away with what they are doing in Gujarat. Right? So, impunity is the word here for the first blank. Right? Remember, another thing that you can do is probably apply a little bit of prefixes, suffixes or root word context. Im. If you had seen my video Words and Strategies on YouTube, right? We looked at some prefixes meaning. Im, in and all means not. So, not getting punished. Free from punishment. Right? Let's move on. Second blank. Nothing they have done this time is new. Who? These guys, these activists in Surat. What are they doing? Works of art have been dashed before in India. Look at the options for blank 2. Blemished, defaced, injured, disfigured. Right? So, if I look at it, quickly I can relate blemish, injured and disfigured to do with people. When I say blemish, I can only think of, a pimple mark leaving a scar. Right? Not the right word. Defaced is to do with property actually. Right? To destroy. That's what defaced means. So, defaced has different meanings actually. It can also mean, you're kind of bringing down the value of something. Right? You're destroying something. Injured, when I say injured, I can quickly relate it to physical harm or hurt. Right? Somebody got injured. Right? You can injure someone's feelings or reputation also, but predominantly when I say injured, not physical harm or hurt, right? That's what and disfigured again, when I say disfigured, I think of a disfigured face. Impunity means exemption from punishment or loss. Freedom, license, permission to do whatever. It's just the opposite. So disfigured, when I say disfigured, I can only think of a disfigured face. Right? So the closest word in the context, again, we're looking at art, right? We're looking at something that is getting destroyed. So again, the right or the closest word that will fit in the context is, the closest word that will fit in the context is defaced. Right? So works of art have been, this is your clue, works of art, object, things have been defaced before in India and gallery owners threatened. The objections are also tediously familiar. What are the objections? Why are they objecting to this? Hey, because this art was obscene. It has hurt religious feelings. We are not okay with what you have put up in this art gallery. Yeah, what is new this time is the success with which vandals have managed to dash the owner of the gallery. We'll see who the owner of the gallery is, but let's look at our third option. Intrigue, instigate, intimidate and master. As soon as I look at this, I know it cannot be a positive word. It has to be a negative word. I will quickly eliminate master. I need to choose between intrigue, instigate and intimidate. Right? So what is the difference between intrigue, instigate and intimidate? Right? Keeping in mind the context, we need to come up with the most effective word. So if I say intrigue, if you intrigue someone, you are kind of arousing their curiosity. Right? You arouse their interest, arousing interest or curiosity. Now in this context, we are talking about, keep in mind your clue word, vandals. Who are these people? Who are vandals? Vandals means people who willfully destroy things. Right? Either public or private property. So that's your clue word. Vandals means someone who wantingly, on purpose, willfully right, on purpose, they either deface, which we saw, right? Another synonym for deface is destroy. Deface or destroy public or private property. So in this context, right, arousing interest or curiosity will not be. Instigate. Instigate means what? When I say someone is instigating me, you're urging, to urge on, to goad, right? Intimidate. What is to intimidate? To either scare or frighten someone, right? It can also mean that you are silently, or illegally kind of threatening them or blackmailing them, right? Intimidate also has a different meaning. Threaten. By illegal means, obviously not legally, right? By threaten or blackmail. So, having looked at this context, now let's go back. So, what's happening? What is new this time is the success with which vandals, who are the vandals? One who purposely destroy public or private property, in this context the works of art, have managed to dash the owner of the gallery. Now we need the surrounding context, right? So the surrounding context talks about, let's quickly go and just read the next line so we can choose the most effective word in this context. The next line says, the owner, Mr. Praful Shah, who has made a written promise to the objectors that not only would so this guy, because of these guys either threatening or blackmailing him, right, or causing some sort of fear, he doesn't want to lose face. So immediately what he's doing? Okay, boss, I will give a written promise, whoever is objecting, sorry to hurt your feelings, sorry to hurt your religious sentiments, I will make sure that this is taken care of. Right? So he's coming back. He's the owner of the art gallery. So obviously he needs to kind of save face. Right? And he needs to do the right thing. So these vandals are kind of secretly threatening or blackmailing him, saying, if you don't take proper action, you know what we are capable of doing. We will continue to destroy your gallery. That's what they're saying. That's the context. Right? So having said that, let's go back. So obviously the right option is intimidate. So what is new this time is the success with which vandals have managed. So the success of the vandals is to cause fear in the owner's mind, saying if you don't take back or if you don't take proper action, we will destroy your property. Right? I've managed to intimidate the owner of the gallery. Let's move on. Praful Shah has made, so he's making a written promise to the objector, saying not only would the dash works be removed, so what are the options? Cause them to act violently like this, the objectors or the protesters. What are the options? Abstruse, repulsive, obtrusive, offending. So obviously all of these are adjectives, right? What sort of works? So we need the most effective word in the context, right? What is obtruse? Obstruse means difficult to understand. Is it difficult to understand works? Doesn't look like it. Repulsive. When I say something is repulsive, I'm saying disgusting. It's disgusting for me. Right? Causing some sort of an aversion. Now, I can be repulsed by a lot of things. I can even be repulsed by somebody eating food with their mouth open. Right? But again, we're looking at most effective word. Obtrusive. Obtrusive means something that is protruding or something that is undesirably noticeable, right? Again, it's an unrelated word in this context. Offending. So for the objectors, obviously, what has happened is offending their religious sentiments. Offending, offense, right? What is the meaning of offense here? It has caused displeasure, right? They are not pleased with the works of art. They are displeasure. It has caused displeasure, right? This is S-U-R-E. They are angry, right? Of course they are angry. Otherwise, why would they destroy the work of art, right? They are angry. It has caused a lot of displeasure. It has wounded their feelings. It has hurt their feelings, right? Resentment. right? All of this. So the most effective word here is offending work. So he says, I will not only make sure that these works are removed, but the local Hindu right will also be consulted before any future display of art to make sure nothing causes, again, what's your clue word in the context? Offense. Quite dash, the entire community of artists in Gujarat and in the rest of the country is outraged. Right? So what's happening? Because of these activists and vandals and these people who are protesting the work of art. So what about the art section, right? The people who are performing or involved in these arts. They are outraged. Why are they outraged? Look at the last sentences. This is a sad and shaming defeat for them and for those who value their freedom. So basically, artists express their work. The whole idea of artists being creative is their right or their freedom to express how they feel. Right? Creativity is expressed freely. So because this is happening, obviously, so let's look at our options: officiously, authoritatively, understandably, spectacularly. So looking at the options, when I say officiously, right? When I say officiously means you're going out of your way to help somebody, right? When it's not needed. Like you're giving advice when nobody wants. So this is an unrelated word here in the context. Right? Just so you understand the meaning. You're offering advice or some sort of help or service when not needed. Nobody's asking for it. Right? Unrelated word in this context. I don't need this word. Authoritatively. Quite authoritatively? No. There is nothing. In fact, the artists don't have any authority. Right? The vandals have made sure that they just can't do whatever they feel like and exhibit it through the art. So it cannot be authoritatively. We are talking about the community of artists. In fact, they have not been given any authority, right? So it can't be B. Next, understandably. Given the context, looking at the way things have happened, so basically these groups or the vandals are not giving them the freedom to express their art. Simply they're raising some sort of problem saying, whatever art you displayed is hurting our religious sentiments. It is very offensive to us. You take it down. So quite understandably, in fact that's a collocation, quite understandably. So it's understood that of course with whatever is happening, they are not happy. Right? They are outraged because these people are coming and saying you don't have the freedom to express yourself through your art. Spectacularly, it's again an unrelated word here. Spectacularly means, more of it comes from the word spectacle. Right? Impressive or sensational. Unrelated word. So, quite understandably is a collocation in fact. Right? And given the context, that's the best fit. So, again, reiterating, when it comes to close passage, I want you to pay attention to surrounding context so you understand what word is required here. See, for example, for the fourth blank, you have a clue word in the context, offense, towards the end of the sentence. Right? So, vocabulary seems to be the major problem, which means you need to pay attention to what I just showed, right? 30 days to master vocabulary.